Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
To Brilliance Business TV, conversations with leading experts in business. I am your host, Mark Stephen Pooler, and we have an incredible show for you today. I am really looking forward to a conversation with Garrett Stevens, who is president and chairman of HemiSync Real, who I am a big fan of. So I'm super excited for our show today. Before I get started, I just need to make an official shout out to our official show sponsors, Craig Shelley, Beverly Hills Luxury Watches and Fine Jewelry at craigshelley.com. So let's get started with the show. I'll bring in our guest, Garrett Stevens. Garrett, welcome to Brilliance Business TV.
Hey, Mark, thank you. Really good to be with you.
I'm really looking forward to a conversation with you today. And as I mentioned before the show, there is so much for us to talk about today because I am a big fan of this technology. I use it myself. So I do want to go into your background a little bit. But before I do, in a few words, can you just share with our viewers and our listeners just a little bit about what HemiSync is?
Yeah, so HemiSync kind of sits at the intersection of conscious media and technology. So we use a proprietary binaural beat-based audio guidance technology called HemiSync. And we partner with, musicians, authors, teachers to produce content in specific subject areas, which you touched on. So meditation, sleep, relaxation, manifestation, health and wellness, and try to create tools so that people can really maximize their potential as human beings. It generally appeals to folks that maybe feel like something is missing with their life or not quite right.
I just love the technology, and it's more than meditation. There is a lot more to it than just simple meditation. It's a lot more focused. It gets really great results. So I will dig deep more into that a little bit, Garrett. I would like to go into a little bit of detail about you and your background and what led you to become chairman and president of HemiSync.
Yeah, I mean, for a long time, I had a pretty traditional career path in life. I did what the adults tell you to do, right? Like I went to school and got good grades, got a good job. So I went to the Wharton School of Business, studied finance, went to Wall Street, first as an investment banker. And then later on, I had a brief .com turn where I worked at a couple of startups. This was kind of like the 1999-2000 time period. And then I went back to finance at a hedge fund where I was an equity research analyst. That firm did really well over a long period of time. I think I was there 12 plus years. And kind of throughout my career, it went quite well, actually. Maybe about halfway through, I started to get this feeling that, maybe this doesn't fit me quite right anymore. But like I didn't really know what did. I didn't know what else to do. Was there some other job that I needed to go interview for? I didn't know. I just felt like there were, that there was this inner life that needed to come to the fore more, and that I needed to find work that could facilitate that. And so I kind of pushed that feeling aside for, a long period of time, and it kind of got, stronger and stronger. I kept trying to ignore it. And it eventually got to the point where I couldn't ignore it anymore. And it sort of started with the death of my father in 2009. I had a pretty profound spiritual experience the following year. And through kind of a series of serendipitous coincidences, I found HemiSync at around that time. I went to the Monroe Institute, which was founded by Robert Monroe, who was the creator of HemiSync, and uses the HemiSync audio guidance technology in the residential courses. Attended my first retreat there in 2010, followed up in 2011. I became a trainer for them in 2015, and I acquired HemiSync, the company, in 2017. So I've been running that kind of as an entrepreneur investor for about 4 years now. And that seemed to be what fit the bill. There were a lot of inner gifts that I had that I didn't realize, which kind of came out when I stepped into this role. But it was something that I had to create. Like, it wasn't a job I could go interview for or find my way into. It was something that I had to create, and it took a while for all of that to kind of come together.
Great journey, and it's great how you've had all that experience in all the investment banking side of things, and then you have come and HemiSync found you and you found HemiSync. I really like that you was also a fan and it found you, and anything is possible, isn't it, Garrett, that you're now chairman and president of this really amazing company that's so well known by so many people. I myself found it on YouTube, which we'll discuss a little bit more, and I watched a little video of you explaining all about the technology, and that's how I connected with you as well, and I'm such a big fan of it. Can we just go a little bit in detail? What is HemiSync?
Yeah, so to understand HemiSync, you kind of first have to understand what a binaural beat is and the various brainwave frequencies that we tend to operate in. So, for instance, as you and I are having this conversation, we're probably in some mode of beta. So beta is generally anything over about 15 hertz. And so beta is good for concentration, tasks of vigilance. So if you're at work, at school, studying, socializing, you're probably in beta. If you're multitasking, stressed out, you're probably in high beta, which isn't so great because then your sympathetic nervous system kicks in, and your body's getting a steady diet of cortisol and adrenaline, which really isn't good for your health. So there are a variety of useful brainwave states below beta. So alpha is kind of a relaxed brainwave state, which is kind of, alpha is kind of 15 to 20 hertz. Beta is sort of north of 20 hertz. So alpha is great for relaxation. Theta is great for meditation. That's kind of 4 to 8 hertz. And then below 4 hertz is delta. That's for sleep. And so it's unfortunate that the human brain can't hear anything under about 20 hertz. Because when you hear the frequency, your brainwaves automatically entrain to that frequency. So you basically have to trick it into hearing something under 20 hertz. And the way that you do that is through a binaural beat. So if you hear, let's say, 100 hertz into your left ear and 104 into your right ear, your brain automatically makes a third signal that isn't on the recording, which is the difference between those two. So in that case, 4 hertz, 100 hertz, 104 hertz, the difference is 4 hertz. And so that's theta. And so what HemiSync is really a series of binaural beat recipes. They're recipes that we've developed over thousands of hours in the lab. And, they've proven to work for, meditation most prominently, but also for sleep and concentration, things of that nature. And
you see a lot of some of the people I am really inspired by, like Bruce Lipton is a very, very big leader that I follow. And they talk about how important it is for the both sides of the brain to sync together, HemiSync. to get that pinpoint focus so that the mind is really, really like a tunnel, just all in one tunnel vision. So I would just like to go a little bit more detail how it actually works and the importance of HemiSync and the brain being in HemiSync.
Yeah. So, when we're in our everyday working life, we tend to be left brain dominant. So that's kind of the rational, analytical side of the brain. And the right brain kind of goes to sleep, unless you're an artist or something of that nature. And it might, reemerge during sleep. So there is a phenomenon called coherence, where both the left and the right brain are the same with regard to frequency and amplitude. And that is what HemiSync achieves. So HemiSync is short for hemispheric synchronization. So that's a focused whole brain state where you can access parts of yourselves and potential that you maybe previously didn't know you were able to tap into.
I've used this technology for a while now. I've got the HemiSync app, which I highly recommend to people out there. You've got a big library of all of their audios. And I mentioned to Garrett earlier that I've been out of meditation for over a week, and I really can feel the difference. I'm just not as focused. I notice when I'm doing the audios at HemiSync, I'm more focused. I think better. My mood is better. They are just so effective. So I would say to everyone, go and check out the HemiSync app. Now, Garrett, can we just talk about the technology behind it? And I also know there's a lot of research papers and science behind this technology as well, isn't there?
There is, yeah. And they're all listed on the website under the Learn section. And yeah, there's a whole litany of research papers. But yeah, I mean, the technology was developed over a long period of time. It's over 50 years old. And, the company, I think, enjoys kind of this legacy of being associated, founded by Bob Monroe, Robert A. Monroe, who was kind of a pioneer in the field of consciousness research.
I just find it fascinating how much of a difference the technology has, but the story behind it as well, Garrett. Yeah. And it just does have such a big impact. Can we just go just a little bit more in detail? Because I know there's so much technology behind it. Can we just go a little bit more in depth for our viewers and our listeners so it really clicks to them why it's different just from just normal meditation audios? Because there is definitely a difference when you use this technology.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to explain. I mean, you kind of have to experience it. So, if you're brand new to meditation, you might find that it's hard to fall into a meditative state. You'll sit on a cushion and all you get is a stiff back. If you're an experienced meditator, using HemiSync might allow you to hold a deep state for longer, kind of just, allows you to kind of go deep and stay there. So, there have been Zen monks that have used the technology and, they'll tell us, wow, I wish I knew about this before. You typically have to practice for like 10 years before you can have an experience like that. But in terms of, why it works, it's just, it's been tested over thousands of times in the lab. So we know what combinations of, delta, alpha, theta will produce a mind awake, body asleep state, or a state of expanded consciousness, or a state where it feels like, you've lost the sense of time. So, it's tough to get more specific than that. But it's, again, really something you have to experience for yourself. It's kind of like trying to explain, how a fruit tastes. You have to taste the fruit.
I hear you. And I think once people do test it out, it really speaks for itself. And I would say it works really, really quickly as well. I noticed I'd only done it a couple of times and I really started to feel the benefits of it. And they offer so many different audios to do with things like addiction, stress. There's so many different things. I would say if there are problems or issues or things that you want to work on, there will be some HemiSync technology that will support that. Now, you have your own podcast as well, don't you, Garrett? Tell us a little bit about that.
I do. Yeah. It's called the HemiSync Podcast. I sort of started it as a way of, having guests on that we work with at the company. So it was a way to kind of go into greater depth about the products we were creating with them and, why we were doing it. And it sort of branched out from there to just kind of become a general interest podcast covering everything having to do with the underlying nature of reality. So I've been fortunate to have a number of really interesting guests on there, had some pretty involved conversations. And from my perspective, like I'm a reader. So I like, going into these books that are, pretty esoteric. And, I invariably have a series of questions. I've been doing this for years. And so now I have the opportunity to actually, contact the author, get them on the show, ask them these questions. And it's really been elucidating for me. And I hope it is for the people that watch the show too.
I'm just looking at this comment. We have someone saying, I'm sorry, but I missed the part about where to get the technology. You can simply go to HemiSync.com. Let me pop this up here for you, and you will be able to see where you can go and check it all out. So if you go to HemiSync.com, you can see more about the technology. You have interviewed some really special guests as well, Garrett. Just name drop some of the big leaders. I want some of the people you have interviewed.
So I live in LA and I can't stand people that name drop. But so I've had, Deepak Chopra was kind of the biggest one. We did an album with him a few years ago. But also folks like Mark Allen, who's founder of New World Library. He basically discovered Eckhart Tolle. Bernardo Kastrup, who I think is maybe the leading thinker about consciousness and what it means for overall reality right now. Let's see. Blanking a bit right now, but Anita Moorjani, Dean Radin. It's a pretty extensive list. But yeah, you can check that out on the website as well. I've also got a YouTube channel. But yeah, if you Google HemiSync, it's not tough to find. And if you're just looking to kind of check it out and you've got like a Spotify account, you can find a bunch of our stuff there. We have some tracks on YouTube itself now, Apple Music. But yeah, there are a variety of ways now that we've tried to make it accessible for everyone at different price points. So yeah, I think we've removed any excuse to not wanting to try it at this point. So
definitely.
Yeah.
And you mentioned some great names there. Deepak Chopra is a great leader who I really am inspired by. I also forgot to mention, though, Garrett, that some of these leaders have actually done meditations with the HemiSync technology as well.
Most of them have. Yeah.
Yes. So that is great as well. So if you're looking up to some of these great leaders, there are meditations using the HemiSync technology. Garrett, we're just going to a commercial break. Thank you, everyone, for watching part 1 of Brilliance Business TV. We have been chatting with Garrett Stevens, President and Chairman of HemiSync Real. We have discussed his background, how he got into being Chairman and President of HemiSync. We have discussed how it works, what it does. Join us after the break when we talk more to Garrett Stevens. Welcome back to Brilliance Business TV, conversations with leading experts in business. We are here with Garrett Stevens, President and Chairman of HemiSync. What a great show so far. We have discussed all the technology. What is HemiSync? We have learned all about Garrett's background. Before I move into the next questions, Garrett, we've got a few comments popping up. So we've got a thank you here. Yes, name drop. I'd love to hear your thoughts on manifesting. Yeah. I am a big believer in manifestation. Not just a believer, I know it works. The thoughts that you put into your mind, the way that you show up in the world with repetition, the choices that you're making, we can bring things into our reality and change our outer reality by our thoughts, our choices, and our actions. I know this works from my own life. Also, there is a great audio on HemiSync. It's available on the HemiSync app as well, or at HemiSync.com. called Manifesting. It's an incredible meditation that really puts your mind into a position to focus so that you can manifest quicker. What are your thoughts on manifesting, Garrett?
Yeah, I mean, I would echo much of what you just said. I actually wrote a blog article about manifestation that's on the HemiSync website. If you go to the site and search it, you should be able to find it pretty easily. But yeah, I mean, certainly having a plan, writing it down, that all really engages the left-hand side of your brain. I think the real key to it, though, which a bunch of people miss, is that manifestation is fundamentally a heart-centered activity. It's not a head-centered activity. And so that means that you need to really feel it. Like you've got to combine the feeling with the intent to really amplify its potential. And the most powerful way, I think, to feel it is to be grateful for it, even before you actually have it. And the best way to do that is to enter into the state where your mind is quiet. The mental chatter has died down, and you visualize the object of your desire, the thing that you want, and you create it, and it's there, it's done. And you offer gratitude for it because it's done. And that has always been really powerful for me. It might take a while to actually show up, in physical matter reality. In some cases, maybe even years. But I found it to be really effective.
That is actually a really good point, Garrett, especially around feeling it and being heart-centered, because so much science now is showing us that the heart and the mind are connected, and it's really important to have that heart and mind connection, but also time. I think sometimes we all want our manifestations as soon as we visualize them or the day after. In my experience, they do come into existence, but there is a gap in between thinking it, feeling it, and then it showing up. So I would say time and letting it come at the perfect time and not trying to rush it is really, really important. Do you agree with me there?
Yes, absolutely.
So
and that's where the gratitude is tough, because people want instant gratification. And you sort of have to trust that it's going to come when the time is right.
I agree totally. Great question. Thank you for asking a great question there. And my next question, I found HemiSync by just being someone who's into meditation, spirituality, consciousness. And I stumbled on a classified CIA report all about HemiSync, its technology, and how it really helps you to get to these states of higher consciousness and really be connected to the whole of the quantum field. And I'm thinking, wow, what is this technology? There's a big CIA report all about it. Can you tell us, how did this come about, Garrett?
Yeah, I mean, so I'm not behind the document, and it was created in 1983, which was, long before I came on the scene. But yeah, I mean, back around when they first started offering Gateway Voyage, and these articles or these reports were actually called the Gateway Experience, which is the name of the album series that we created, which is based on the Gateway Voyage, which is a residential program at the Institute. But back when they first started giving this program, word started to spread, and the government got interested in the technology mainly for the purpose of remote viewing. So they had heard that the Soviet Union had assembled a team of remote viewers, which are basically psychic spies. And so the U.S. wanted to have, a comparable capability, and they started to investigate it. And so they sent this intelligence officer to attend the program, to listen to HemiSync, and he wrote this incredibly detailed report, sort of both about the program and about his theories of, what was happening. And so he gets into these very technical theories about, how he thinks reality is structured. And it's something like a 30-page report, and you can get it on the CIA website. It's pretty crazy. And people tend to rediscover it, every several months or so, and it kind of goes viral again. But in this most recent round, which kind of started in late January, there were two pretty prominent TikTokers that started creating a series of videos on the Gateway document, and they got like 20 million views. And around this time, I saw the traffic to the site going nuts. I saw our Spotify listeners going through the roof, and I was thinking, what is going on? And then I saw an article in Vice in early February, which was talking about these TikTokers, and it was followed up by an article in the Daily Mail like a week later. And so that's when it all became clear to me what was going on. But yeah, lots of people find it that way.
And I found it by YouTube. It's someone reading out this document. They're talking all about HemiSync technology and Gateway, which I want to talk about next. It actually, they go into so much detail and they test it all out so thoroughly, because it's obviously a CIA report. They even go into the subject of manifestation as well in the document. It just literally, when I listened to the document, I'm not a big reader, I listened to it, I was just blown away by the amount of time and effort they had spent testing out this technology and their belief in the technology of how it really does open up those psychic abilities, opening up remote viewing, manifestation. That was what led me to find HemiSync. And
that's awesome.
The Gateway Experience is what they're researching in this report. Mm-hmm. What is Gateway, Garrett?
Yeah, so Gateway Experience is an introduction into expanded states of consciousness that then goes, very deep into those states. So it introduces you to the mind awake, body asleep state, which is called Focus 10, the state of expanded awareness, which is called Focus 12. The state of no time, or the void, excuse me, which is Focus 15. And then out into sort of the edge of space-time, Focus 21, into the belief system territories, which is kind of where you go when you transition between physical lives. And then finally to Focus 27, which is known as the reception center, or kind of the way station between physical lives. And so there are a number of exercises in the series. It's a 7-album, 42 exercise series where you explore these states, develop tools for, practical everyday living while you're in these states. And it's really kind of meant to introduce you to that greater part of yourself.
So my next question, I haven't listened to Gateway at the moment, so I'm glad I've got you here to really ask you about it. I have listened to so many manifesting the magical path, which I told you earlier is my favorite one of all time. I am really feeling the benefits of it. It's really helping me to grow, move forwards, think better, act better. I was a little bit by Gateway because it's such a big program. I was like, I'm not sure who is this for? What does it do? Because for me, there was such a big library there. So just tell us, who is it for and what can you expect to get from going through the Gateway experience?
Yeah, I mean, it's for anyone that wants to lead a more meaningful life. If you feel like there's something missing from your life, but you can't quite put your finger on it, if your life feels somehow limited, narrow, dull, constricted, it's for you. It's really as simple as that.
And I definitely think it's something that will benefit a lot of people right now, because we have all gone through a challenging year, and I think these kinds of programs can really help with our health, well-being, our stresses of every day-to-day life. So I will go in at some point and go through that Gateway experience. I was kind of holding back from it a little bit because I'm like, whoa, it's taking you to all of these dimensions. Am I ready to go there at the moment? So I think I have done it the right way by working in gently through some of the other programs as well. Would you agree with me there, Garrett?
It's really up to you. So whatever feels right for you is the way to go. There's no kind of one size fits all path or one size fits all solution. But I just really encourage people to kind of sense into their inner feeling, their inner guidance, and to follow that.
And that's the best advice that we can all do when you listen to your own intuition, your own inner guidance. In your opinion, Garrett, who is HemiSync for? Not just Gateway, what we discussed earlier, but HemiSync in general. I know it will suit so many people out there because you have got such great programs for so many different issues, for so many different problems that people may want to work on, like addictions, weight loss. So I know it's really broad, but who would you say this technology is calling out to?
Well, so again, it's really for anyone that wants to live a more meaningful life, to access their full human potential. In terms of demographics, that historically meant people that were maybe a bit older, kind of 45 plus, getting to that age where they start to ask the big questions, is this really all there is? They tended to be college educated. That is changing though. Given the different platforms that you can find us on now, the audience is skewing younger and younger. And, these people that are coming up now, this younger generation, they seem to be asking the big questions earlier on. And that might be because, the conventional paths that some people of, our generation led, it doesn't work quite as well for them anymore. Like those paths aren't as available. And COVID, I think, has accelerated that further. People can't go outside to find fulfillment anymore. All they have is right here. They have to go inward. We're being forced inward. And so that naturally leads to a curiosity about, well, what else is there? How deep can I go? And so, we're seeing this, excuse me, got a frog in my throat, but, we're seeing this trend around the world. Roughly half our users are foreign and half are domestic. Excuse me.
Yes, I'm such a big fan. I've been using it myself for a few months. I'm just a big fan of the app as well, Garrett. To me, the app is so incredible because when you pay that small monthly fee, I think it's around $6. Correct me if I'm wrong. I know.
In the UK, it's probably about £6. That's probably about right with the exchange rate. But I mean, you can try it for 7 days for only 99 cents to see if it's good for you. But there's actually a big refresh of the app that's just around the corner. And so for the first time, there will be a mixer where you can create your own custom HemiSync, which I think will be pretty cool for people.
I would like my own custom HemiSync, so that is definitely a cool thing, Garrett. And I would just urge people to check out the app, try it for 7 days, because most of the audios, once you are in that monthly membership, you can just download for free and listen to them whenever you want to listen to them. I listen on a morning, I listen on a night, and to be honest with you, there's only a very small part of the catalogue that you have to pay for. I know the Gateway Experience, because that is such a big program with so much technology, so much research behind it, that is a little bit more expensive. But there's only a couple more that you are charged for. Everything else is free. You get, I think, 80% of the whole catalogue, which is really, really generous of HemiSync, I think, Garrett.
That's right, Mark. And thanks for that. And with the membership, you do get 5 of the Gateway Experience exercises, 5 of the really important foundational exercises in that series.
Garrett, I have thoroughly enjoyed having a conversation with you today. My last question, I've enjoyed learning about your background, how you got to be chairman, how you got to be president of HemiSync. I've enjoyed learning about how it works, what it is, who it's for. My last question, and this one will be unexpected to you. Oh. What is new for Garrett and HemiSync? What have we got to look forward to? I know you said the app is coming out, being upgraded, and custom audios, which is incredible. But what else? What's new for Garrett and HemiSync?
Well, the custom HemiSync is the kind of big new thing, and that will extend into other, I think, exciting new opportunities, which I don't want to discuss quite yet because I don't have them kind of in view quite yet. But we also introduced online courses last year. So, that was also, I think, well timed for COVID. So people can kind of go into a specific subject area, whether it's manifestation or shamanism or just kind of basic meditation, or, acupressure. They can do it kind of on their own schedule, in the comfort of their own homes. So just kind of continuing to try to build out the offerings to sort of really meet people where they're at.
Garrett, I have really, really enjoyed having you on the show today. Thank you for giving us your time today. We really, really appreciate it. I am looking forward to learning more from HemiSync and gaining all of those benefits from plugging in. And I'm sure we'll be chatting to each other again in the near future. Thank you for being on the Brilliance Business Show.
Pleasure. Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome. Thank you, everyone, for watching Brilliance Business TV, conversations with leading experts in business.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.